Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
Hello and welcome to the Think Factory. My name is Susan Kleiner. I'm with OGC Solutions, and I'm happy today to have here with me is Mark Cartier, co-founder of No Limits Café, a nonprofit restaurant and workforce training organization that's redefining what inclusive employment can look like. After a successful career on Wall Street, Mark and his wife Stephanie set out to solve a challenge facing millions of families: meaningful employment opportunities for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. What started as a personal mission has grown into an organization that provides jobs, skills training, community engagement, and endless possibilities for individuals often overlooked by traditional employers. Mark, welcome to the Think Factory podcast.
Thank you for having me, Susan.
So, could you just explain for our listeners, what is No Limits Café and how did it come about?
So No Limits Café is a nonprofit restaurant. We employ and train adults with intellectual disabilities. The employees perform all of the tasks that are in existence in any restaurant anywhere. We have people front of the house, back of the house, prep. Wherever there's a role, we have someone with an intellectual developmental disability filling it and doing so with incredible amounts of success. Stephanie and I have three children. Our two oldest sons are neurotypical. Our youngest, our daughter Katie, who's now 27, has Down syndrome. About 10 years ago, when Katie was 17, we started thinking about her future in terms of employment. And we wanted to make sure that she had a job opportunity. And as we started looking into it further, we realized that there is an 80% unemployment rate for this population. We also looked at a lot of our older friends who have intellectual disabilities. And we saw that when they turn 21, they have what's called falling off the cliff. At 21, the certainty that these individuals, these young men and women have known since age 3 is gone. They've spent 10, 11 months a year in school. And at the end of that time, there's nothing for them. Very little opportunity, very little day programs, and a lot of limits, a lot of ceilings on what they can do. Very few chances for post-secondary education. And so when we started looking at Katie's situation, we realized that it was a bigger problem than just Katie. And we felt that we had the ability and the calling, really, to go out and make a difference and open a business that would give meaningful employment and create community awareness and create opportunities.
That sounds amazing. All right, so I want to delve a little bit deeper. First of all, I just want to say that I have heard from friends that have gone to the cafe that the food is, in fact, fabulous, and it's a great place to meet friends for lunch. But you also, in addition to having the cafe, you have a food truck and you cater events?
Yes, we do, and the event catering is another opportunity for larger groups of people to come in and see what our employees can do. It's also a different work environment, really, for service and for the prep and presentation of the meals for parties, and that's been a great addition. We also, when we opened, we had the good fortune or misfortune to open 2 weeks before COVID. And during that time, my wife had gone to see going to get something from a food truck. And they talked about how they have a commissary kitchen, and the light bulb went off in my head that said, we should do a food truck. And it will create more jobs and more opportunities for employment, as well as the fact that it allows for a broader audience to see the mission and to see what our employees can do. And so we set out, and in 2023, we got our food truck, which is named Hazel, and Hazel's been taking the mission on the road since.
Okay, and you're in central New Jersey, Red Bank, New Jersey. How far a radius do you serve with your food truck and your catering events?
Catering and delivering, we go into New York City,
okay,
which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what kind of traffic you hit with the tunnel.
Yeah.
So we'll travel for the large orders. Most of our office catering that we do, apart from the catering to do inside the restaurant, but our office catering that we do tends to be within about a 20 to 25 mile radius. The food truck has gone all over. We've been up to Westchester County. We go down each year to the Teachers Convention in Atlantic City, which is another great venue for us to showcase what the men and women who work for us can do. So we'll travel. We travel a good bit with food truck.
Right. So I've been focusing quite a bit on the food, but I now want to turn to the people. So you do, isn't it the case that sometimes, the young adults that you're training and are working with you, they don't always stay with the cafe. Is that right? Sometimes they go on to other employment.
So we have two ways where people move on from the cafe. One is people will find themselves looking for another job or one might want to do something different. We have employees that have gone off to work in daycare, to work in other restaurants, to work in office situations. So we're happy to see people move forward. And we have our training program. And the reason for the training program is actually a little bit the opposite. People don't leave. We were one of the few businesses after COVID was over that really didn't lose any employees. All our employees wanted to come back to work. And so if you have a job that you covet and you enjoy it and you go to work coming home with this real feeling of fulfillment at the end of the day, you may not want to leave it. And so we have great employee engagement. We knew early on that we were going to get phone calls on an almost daily basis, phone calls, emails, people stopping in saying, I have a friend, a nephew, a niece, a daughter with an intellectual disability, and they can't find work. What can you do? And we can only employ so many. We have 35 employees at this time. And we knew that we should do something in addition to just the cafe. And so in 2022, we launched the Suzanne Hatfield training program, and we give people a 10-week paid training program, which is unique. Normally, for some form of job training, you go and you pay to get your training. We pay because it's not a job unless you're getting the dignity of a paycheck. And we have had great success placing people. We've probably placed about 65% of the people that have completed the program in another job. We've had some that have gone off to college because they were motivated to do more with their lives. And we've had some individuals upon completing the training program where they have said, I don't want to work in a restaurant, which is also a great accomplishment because one of the keys to success is self-advocacy. And we work very hard in basically creating an independent mindset for the men and women who work for us and getting them to speak up for themselves and speak out on their personal behalf. And so if someone says, I don't want to work, then after the training program, then we're good with that because of the fact that they actually, instead of being told what they're going to do and told where they're going to go, they are basically deciding for themselves.
So I think, I hear so many good things in that. One of the things that I heard is about agency, right? And independence and how important it is, from making sure that you're getting a paycheck to making sure that you get a choice is so important, for these individuals. And I'm sure, helps with their engagement, their happiness, and helps their families as well. I actually know from having spoken to you before that you actually have some personal experience, right, with your daughter and, what she chose to do even after you and your wife had created No Limits Café. Are you open to sharing a little bit about that? It's a great story.
Yes, I am. So interestingly, right after we made the decision to do the cafe, and by the way, neither one of us had ever worked in the restaurant business.
Right.
We just said, let's just do it. Right after we did, Katie was fortunate enough to be accepted to Mason Life at George Mason University. So she went off to school. But when she finished and she was back, she was working in the cafe and she had a second job. She had made up her mind that she wanted to get another job. So she found a job at the local Chick-fil-A. And when she was asked, someone said, how are you going to have 3 jobs? She said, I'm done at No Limits. And the person said, what do you mean you're done with No Limits? She said, yeah, working for family is too much drama. And so she just basically decided to move on, and which is the greatest thing that could have happened for her to speak up, to decide what she wanted to do, and then to go after it. It's incomparable.
So I know you said that you and your wife had no restaurant experience. In fact, you pivoted from a successful career on Wall Street to nonprofit. And I'm curious what you found the most challenging in making that big transition and what has been the most rewarding for you.
When I first left Wall Street, it was very, very difficult because in my prior role, I was the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a number of great people that worked for me. And we'd been very, very, very successful. When I went to work at No Limits, My wife's actually the boss, and she would tell you if she was on this call.
Okay.
But so working for your wife was my first was one of my first challenges. I also had to learn to be more empathetic. I had to learn to be a better listener and also to be more patient. In terms of the business world, when New York, Wall Street moves very, very. In terms of the nonprofit space, things move at a different pace, completely different pace. And so that was that was definitely an adjustment. But what I've been able to see firsthand is the growth of the employees. And that is a source of great fulfillment because they have evolved. Each and every individual has evolved over time. And I've been blessed to be there to see it. Whereas if I was still working on Wall Street, I would see people occasionally. But here you see day by day different developments. We had one young man who when he started, he was very shy. And he would only want to work in prep because that was where he was comfortable. Then he became more comfortable and he said, I want to go out and work in the front of the house and I want to bus tables. And then he worked waiting tables and then went from serving to working the line where you assemble the meals to be sent out to the customers. It's a fast pace. And so seeing a development of an individual like that is very fulfilling and much more so than the gratification that I got working in New York.
Wow, that's really something. So I'm curious too, how has No Limits Café changed expectations of the families, for their loved ones?
Families now realize that their sons and daughters are capable of so much more.
Right.
Many of the families, one of the things that we found with every employee that came in, and in some ways our daughter too, she had learned helplessness. And learned helplessness is you and I doing things for our sons and daughters or anyone with an intellectual or developmental disability, because we have a soft bigotry of low expectations. We don't think they can do it. We're not sure they can do it. We don't want them to be hurt. We don't want them to fail. Won't they be upset if they fail? We go on and rationalizing doing for them. Or it's quicker if I just do it myself. And so the employees and these individuals over time, from their loved ones, have learned that if I stand there, you'll do it for me. And that's the learned helplessness. And what we have seen is just now that we've seen the independence, when we talk to families, they say, when my son comes home, he goes to the kitchen and helps me. When my daughter comes home, she comes and helps me. They are more outgoing, more outspoken, which is a great, it's a great evolution to see. And so families have come to us and have shared stories of their sons or daughters having situations where they're surprised at what they're capable of. And we give every employee the opportunity to fail. One of the phrases that we use is the dignity of risk. And by that, we mean we give you the opportunity to take chances and to fail, because that's how we learn. We had a mother call us one time and said, I don't want my child cutting. I'm nervous about them cutting. And my wife said, well, I understand. I hear your risk. I have good news and bad news. The good news is she's been cutting lemons for 6 months. Families are surprised at what their sons and daughters and they learn they've grown to see that what they thought might be the ceiling for their son or daughter is nothing. It's more of a basement because they fly.
That's just amazing. So obviously, socially, from a social perspective, what you're doing is pretty fabulous for these young adults and their families. But I know that, you're also an entrepreneur and you have found this to be a business opportunity. So I'm curious, what would you say to business leaders who are hesitant to build a more inclusive workplace?
Don't be afraid. When I talk to businesses, they have for a variety of different, sometimes it's a soft no, sometimes it's a hard no, but there's a reticence that's there. And very often it's that they say, I don't know what to do. I won't know how to manage this particular situation. And what I have learned is that every employee, that myself included as an employee, but every one of us is imperfect, and every one of us has abilities. So there's a population of men and women that exist right in our own backyards everywhere that want to work, that can work. And it's the fear of what could go wrong that triggers a lot of businesses to say no. And the fact is that we have the individuals that we have placed, and most of them are in the food service industry. We have a 100% retention rate for at least 1 year with everyone who we have placed. Okay. And that is far greater than the industry average. That's far greater than any average you'll ever hear. There's very few industries where people have a 100% retention rate. And these individuals have shown that they can be successful. There are times where, and I've said this to businesses, there are times where they might need a longer runway. They might need some extra assistance, but they can get there. And for the business leaders that have bought in to hiring, they have found a level of fulfillment and a level of gratification for having had the open-mindedness to bring someone in.
And I imagine, that fulfillment also extends to people in their workforce, right? Like it would sort of better, not just the folks at the top, but, all of the staff that get the opportunity to work with, these individuals and help them grow. Have you had businesses report that to you?
Yes, we have. And we've seen situations where the individuals that upon being hired have just basically melded into the fabric of the organization. And it does give organizations a sense, individuals within an organization, a sense of pride that their companies have the willingness to take this chance that turns into an opportunity.
Well, good stuff. So obviously, I'm hearing it from you for sure. Your definition of success and fulfillment changed, as you pivoted from Wall Street to nonprofit. I'm curious, what advice would you give your younger self?
So I've been asked this question a couple of different times. And it's funny because I say to myself, I'm 64 now, so I'm thinking, would I give the advice to my 20-year-old self or my 30-year-old self or my 40-year-old self? But a couple of pieces of advice that I would share, and this is through a great deal of thought. The first is never stop learning. And that would have helped me a lot in my teens and my 20s because I would have probably done more with my education than I did. But learning throughout your life, it's a process. And very often we feel that once we've gotten a degree or once we've reached a certain level that we're done learning. And the most successful people that I know, and really one of the keys to the success that I've had in my life is never stop learning. And the other thing I would say to my younger selves is fear is kind of a double-edged sword, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of taking a chance. Don't be afraid of what people will think. Don't be afraid of what someone will say. If you believe in it and you have faith in it, then do it.
That's some good stuff. Be teachable too, right? Learn, be teachable, and take those risks. Good advice. So what's the future for No Limits Café? What do you have planned? What's next?
Our next adventure, if you will, as my wife likes to call them, is, and it's probably our boldest since opening the cafe, is our boldest step is we are opening a smaller version of No Limits Cafe on the Rutgers campus this fall. We will be in Mortensen Hall, which is part of the Mason Grove School of Arts. We have a small cafe space that we're taking over. And our thought process behind this is very simple. Colleges are the nexus. They're the intersecting point for the next generation of leaders. And we need leaders. You spoke about people hiring. We need leaders in business to jump on board. We need leaders in community, and we need leaders in education, all of whom need to, I believe, be more aggressive about the opportunities that exist. And when I think of, there's no place better than a school like Rutgers that has welcomed us with open arms. Then there's few places that would be better for us to launch this pilot program. We believe if we get it right and can prove, emphatically that it works, that we have something that can be scalable, that can be implemented on colleges all over the country, all across the country. Our education system, there's so many great educators and dedicated educators, but my neurotypical sons spent 13 years in school, 9 months a year. At the end of 13 years, my sons were able to go off to college or get a job. And that's true for probably 90+% of the people that graduate from high school. neurodiverse individuals are in school 11 months a year for 18 years, and they face an 80% unemployment rate, and probably less than 1% go off for post-secondary education. If you just put those two fact sets next to each other, you'd say there's got to be room for improvement. And we believe that opening the eyes of the young people is one way to affect that change on a generational basis.
That's exciting. We'll have to check back in maybe come spring and hear how your fall semester went, and if you got an A or a B on the college campus. So I know that your organization also has a number of events. Do you have any events coming up?
We do. We have one of our biggest fundraisers of the year is September 26th at Thompson Park here in Middletown. And that is our 5K and half marathon. And we look for runners, sponsors, people who want to come out. And even if you're not a runner, if you want to walk, it's open to all abilities, which is, sort of the catch for no limits, right? We're here for everyone. And it's a great day. It's a fun day. And, and we would certainly love to invite people out on 26th of September for that event.
That's great. So how can people reach you, and how can they find out more about No Limits, or if they want to sign up for the 5K?
Yeah, so we have all of that information on our website, nolimitscafe.org. We also have, someone can reach me through the restaurant, which we are open for business Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. For lunch. And the phone number there is 732-268-7471. And my email, which I'm happy to give out, is Mark Cartier at nolimitscafe.org. And I welcome all calls. We are excited about the training program that we have and the success that it's had. And we will, later this fall, we'll be opening up our sessions for next year. We're booked for all of 2026, but we'll open up for next year. And we also invite people to come into the restaurant. The best way to learn anything about the mission is to come into the restaurant. You can ask for a tour. One of us will be happy to take people around, show them what the employees do. And that's the game changer. We've had, interestingly, you were talking about the perceptions earlier. And we've had a number of people who stopped in the restaurant not knowing what it was. And then they said, this was truly amazing. And out of surprise, they said, and the food was really good. Of course, we're going to give you great food, but because their eyes are now, that says to me that their eyes are now open to the opportunities that exist, and also the abilities of the men and women that are making the food for them.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, so we ask everyone on our podcast, what keeps you up at night?
Interestingly, for that, I am perhaps one of the greatest sleepers in the history of sleep. But I think the one thing right now that has us, well, two things right now that have us, sort of on edge is number one, or has me on edge anyways, is number one is making sure that we're successful with Rutgers, because we believe that this is something that is really powerful and profound, and that it can be a great catalyst for change. The second piece that my wife and I talk about, and this is very key, is, I'm 64. She's a little younger. We look at transition in a few years, transitioning and making sure that the organization thrives the way that it has long after we're past. So we're always looking at what are we going to do when and how are we going to step away. But before we can even consider that, we're going to nail. I hope I get an A at Rutgers.
I think you're going to get an A, and I'm sure you'll figure out those succession issues. It seems like, you figured out some difficult transitions in the past and just made move mountains. So, Mark, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Think Factory and for sharing the remarkable story behind No Limits Café. What I love about your work is it reminds us that innovation doesn't always start with technology or disruption. It often starts with seeing potential where others see limitations. No Limits Café creates opportunity, dignity, and community while challenging all of us to rethink what's possible in the workplace. Mark, thanks so much for being here. We look forward to hearing more about the continued impact of No Limits Café, and best of luck with your venture at Rutgers.
Thank you, Susan. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks for listening to the Think Factory. If you'd like to learn more, please be sure to listen to our other podcasts where my colleagues and I talk to business leaders about the issues affecting everyone today. Thank you.